Hello and welcome to the NCWLIFE Evening News on this Monday, December 15th. I'm Grant Olson. Here are some of the stories we have coming up for you tonight. The village of Stehekin is under an evacuation notice as it faces more possible flooding. Chelan County commissioners approved a budget today that includes a roughly $1.9 million shortfall between revenues and expenditures. Rain, cooler temperatures, and wind in our weather forecast this week. Your full local forecast is coming up. The city of Leavenworth has begun to restore normalcy after last week's deluge and windstorm, but similar weather may still yet to come. The tourist-friendly Bavarian town was without electricity for days starting last Wednesday when pounding rains and wind gusts of 60 miles an hour combined to uproot trees and topple power lines. Meanwhile, the rising icicle and Wenatchee Rivers flooded homes off East Leavenworth Road. The Chelan County PUD managed to restore electricity in the downtown core just before midnight Friday and to the remainder of town on Saturday. Surrounding communities along Chumstick Highway, Lake Wenatchee, and Blewett Pass were also brought back online. Locals hope the repairs will hold as a high wind watch goes into effect tomorrow with gusts that could match those felt last week. We'll give you the full weather outlook later in our half hour. The village of Stehekin is under an evacuation notice as it faces more possible flooding. Sheriff Mike Morrison says his agency is also recommending people stay clear of Holden Village and the Rio Tinto mine remediation site. Stehekin suffered landslide damage, including the destruction of its water treatment facility when flooding brought down parts of the hillside last week. The slides blocked off portions of Stehekin Valley Road, which connects many residents to the boat dock that carries most traffic in and out of the town. Last week's atmospheric river dumped nearly 9 inches of rain on burn scars left from the Palmas fire in 2024. Morrison today told Chelan County commissioners it's a situation that needs to be closely watched.
You know, Stehekin citizens are very independent, capable, dedicated to their homes and stuff. So we understand that a lot of them have made the decision to stay, but we're trying to get more of a full count of how many are up there because we recognize the hillside is still unstable in several spots. The water is forecasted to continue to come down. And from what we've got back report-wise from our subject matter experts, we're going to see more slides up there.
The Holden Village Lutheran community announced last week it's sending all 53 of its staff members home for the winter after last week's floods cut off the Forest Service road leading into the site. With repair work that can't begin until spring, the village will remain closed to visitors at least through May of next year. The viral photo you saw over the weekend is the real thing. A section of Highway 2 just west of Leavenworth that tumbled into the raging Wenatchee River during Thursday's flooding. The asphalt collapse happened after rising water undermined the bank in Tumwater Canyon. Lauren Loebsack with the Washington State Department of Transportation confirmed the photo and provided a drone image showing the undermined bank just before it slid into the river. It's just one of a number of sites on both sides of Stevens Pass where floods and landslides have disrupted travel. Highway 2 remained closed today between Leavenworth and Skycomish. The Grant County Health District says it's done all its due diligence relating to the October bird flu outbreak at a Moses Lake poultry facility and found no further instances of infection. Highly pathogenic avian influenza is deadly to birds and can wipe out entire flocks and can pose a risk to exposed humans. The health district says it found no cases of human infection among workers at the poultry farm and offered training on how to keep safe from HPAI. The State Department of Agriculture says it's recorded 13 outbreaks in Washington this year, including new detections this week in Island, Jefferson, and Lewis counties. People who come into contact with domestic birds should practice personal protection and hygiene and protect backyard flocks from migratory birds that tend to carry the disease. When we come back, the city of Wenatchee has a new face on its council. The city of East Wenatchee has outlined its priorities for the upcoming legislative session. And Chelan County commissioners approved a budget today that includes a roughly $1.9 million shortfall between revenues and expenditures. I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching the NCWLIFE Evening News.
Family roles change with time. You may find yourself being an unpaid caregiver to a loved one. Caregiving can be rewarding, but also stressful. Taking care of yourself is vital. Aging and Adult Care of Central Washington has low or no cost services for unpaid caregivers, such as in-home support, care supplies, and counseling. Connect in your local area by calling Aging and Adult Care at 800-572-4459 and mention you're interested in caregiver support.
When flooding hit Serve Wenatchee, their office and Fresh Hope Market were devastated. But their mission to help prevent homelessness in this valley hasn't stopped, and neither will we. I'm Todd McLaughlin, General Manager at Apple Valley Honda. Now through the end of the year, we're donating $25 to Serve Wenatchee every time someone takes a test drive. And if you happen to buy a vehicle, we'll give an additional $100 in your name. Because when our neighbors are in need, this community steps up, and we're proud to be part of that.
There's no place like home, because home is where we're totally comfortable. It's where we can be ourselves and let our guards down. It's where we make memories, and we're always imagining new ways to keep it totally comfortable. Carrier, total comfort, totally happy.
Call Alpine Air Heating and Cooling today. Your comfort is their priority.
The city of Wenatchee has a new face on its council. On Thursday, Doug Miller, who was previously a Chelan County Fire District 1 Fire Commissioner and Fire Chief, was one of 3 council members sworn in. Miller ran uncontested to replace Chelsea Ewer, who was appointed to Mayor Mike Poyer's former seat in 2024 and opted not to run for re-election. Miller was joined in a swearing-in ceremony by top Rojana Stehekin and Myra Navarra Gomez, both also unopposed in their races. Miller, whose term begins in the new year, said a few words during the ceremony.
I'll speak briefly. I'm Doug Miller. 20 years ago, I stood before the people and signed an oath of office, just like tonight, for an opportunity to serve this community. It is a great privilege to be able to offer one's experience, and I spoke with the mayor earlier about some of the shared experiences that I have with him and with others in the community, having grown up here and spent so long serving the community as a public employee and also as an elected official. And I'm very excited to be back and provide guidance and leadership and work as a team with these men and women who, again, have stepped up to serve you and the rest of this community on behalf of the city and on behalf of the personnel and on behalf of our community at large. I want to thank you all for your service, and I'm very, very excited to be part of it going forward. Thank you.
The city of East Wenatchee has outlined its priorities for the upcoming legislative session. The city has identified a range of issues it wants Washington lawmakers to address, including housing, public safety, and public record reform, specifically data collected by automated license plate readers like flock cameras. In Skagit County, a judge ruled that data collected by flock is public record, which led the Wenatchee Police Department to temporarily turn off their cameras as they wait for guidance on how to move forward. Other requests include legislation to require state agencies to pause or reverse building, energy, and code amendments, and permanent funding for multi-jurisdictional drug task forces in the biennial operating budget. The Washington State Legislative session will begin on January 16th. Chelan County Commissioners approved a budget today that includes a roughly $1.9 million shortfall between revenues and expenditures. The overall $61 million general fund comes with a hiring freeze for the year and a demand from commissioners that departments stay at their 2025 levels for spending. The gap was predicted to be about $6 million had those strategies not been adopted. Commissioner Kevin Overbay said there's a chance the county may end the year with a balance sheet that's close to breaking even. Coming up next in tonight's feature story, we visit with Chelan County Coroner Wayne Harris on why he chose to retire at the end of the year rather than serve out his full term. Rain and a high wind watch are in our Tuesday weather forecast. I'll have all your local weather details coming up, followed by Eric Granstrom with a look at all the day's sports action as the NCWLIFE Evening News continues after these messages.
Central Washington Water understands the power of healing waters. If part of your wellness routine includes hot heat from a sauna, Central Washington Water now carries indoor and outdoor infrared and hot rock saunas by Tilo. Research shows there are many health benefits to a cold plunge after a good workout or relaxing time in your sauna. Harness the power of water in a hot spring spa, plug-and-play spas, a Tilo sauna, or a cold plunge tub. Stop by Central Washington Water, your wellness experts.
Order ready for Susan?
During the holiday rush, those might be the best words you can hear all week. At Abby's, you get a night off from cooking, a place to gather with family, and easy holiday catering that everybody loves. For legendary pizza and hospitality, visit Abby's.com. Aloha and Melikaliki Maka from Abby's. End your year with a tropical twist. Our big Hawaiian pizza at a legendary holiday price. Plus, earn $5, $10, $20 or more in free pizza with our holiday gift card offer. Abby's, a legendary holiday pizza tradition.
Chelan County Coroner Wayne Harris has served the community for nearly 20 years, investigating unexplained deaths alongside law enforcement and helping families who have to cope with the loss of a loved one. Harris has chosen to retire from office at the end of the year rather than serve out his full term to the end of 2026. In tonight's feature story, he told NCWLIFE's Dan Kuntz one big reason for that is a dramatic change in the kinds of deaths he's asked to look into.
Drug overdoses have been rapidly increasing, and going out on all these calls and telling families, and it's mentally and emotionally, just physically also, it became a little bit too much for an older guy like me.
It just wears you down to see these should be young, healthy, vibrant people. Most of them are young, not necessarily all of them young, but most of them young.
Yeah,
seeing their lives go down the drain like that.
Yes, a lot of them were young, but it's interesting. 30, 40, 50 are a lot of the ages. We even had a 70-year-old lady that overdosed on fentanyl. So it's a vast range of ages, and I think a lot of it is the opioid drug addiction that gripped the nation years ago. It's just held on to a lot of those folks, and they've pivoted to fentanyl. And then the younger kids are getting it because it's inexpensive and highly addictive.
Powerful.
Very, yeah, very.
Last year, the last numbers we have that you gave to us, 37 fatal overdoses last year.
That's correct.
2024. How can you differentiate in your job whether it was an accidental, I did too much and I'm gone, as opposed to I don't want to live anymore and I'm doing this? Can you in fact do that?
That's really difficult. The only way is if an individual had prior suicide attempts or left a note or texted family or friends and said, I can't live anymore, I'm not going to do it. So we always generally rule it an accidental death, because when they were taking the drug, did they actually intend to die? And the answer is most likely no.
Does it fall on you for the most part to notify next of kin on these things?
Yes, I took that role because of my time in the funeral business, the 20 years in the funeral business, working with grieving families. Generally, law enforcement might go do it, but I felt like it was something appropriate for me to do because I could understand their grieving process and help them through it. And also, I can explain to them what the next steps are, where the body has been taken, and will there be an autopsy, won't there be an autopsy, and explain that to them. And it kind of makes it a little easier on them and me. And also, I never leave the scene, or I never leave their home until they have somebody there to help assist them, whether it's family or pastor or friends or neighbors.
When it comes to the autopsy of a drug overdose victim, can the family request one? Whether you say they died of a drug overdose. I don't really need to do an autopsy, but are you legally required to do those under those circumstances?
No, we're really legally required to do them. All homicides, children under 3 years old are the only two real requirements. The obvious is if somebody's fairly young or middle-aged that has no medical history, we would do one. But because it's county funds, we don't just do them at the family's request, especially if we have medical records or some type of health history that the individual has. And the law enforcement investigates the scene, and we investigate the body, and we can get a pretty good idea of why they died, if it's a sudden natural death as opposed to like a homicide or suicide or falling off a ladder and hitting their head or something like that.
Time now to take a look at your North Central Washington weather forecast. Hope you had a fantastic weekend. Boy, lots of traffic around the Wenatchee Valley, Christmas shopping and whatnot. Weather wasn't too bad over the weekend. Some rain showers, though, this morning. That kind of gave way to a little bit of sunshine this afternoon. But as we look down at the Wenatchee Valley from our lower Wenatchee Heights tower camera, you can there's still some low-hanging clouds. And in fact, our upper camera, all it was clouds. So this shot brought us what we're seeing right now, and that's the Cascades with our next storm system set to move in as we get into tonight and once again tomorrow. We'll talk more about that, but we have a very active week to talk about. Heavy mountain rain in our forecast today and once again for Tuesday. The risk for flooding along with rock and mudslides, a very real possibility, especially on burn scars from wildfires. And then as we get into Monday night, there's a wind advisory we'll talk about in a second, but this is the period we're really watching Tuesday night into Wednesday. Major weather event with strong wind, mudslides, high wind watch I mentioned will go into effect, and we could see the first time a good shot with some heavy rain mixed with snow as we make our way through this week, and it will continue even as we get into Friday. So let's get back to the wind now. We do have a high wind watch that will go into effect tomorrow night, and that will run into Wednesday, where we could see steady winds 25 to 45 mile an hour with gusts 50 to 70 miles an hour, and that could be updated to a high wind warning as we talk once again tomorrow. We're talking down trees, some power outages, and maybe some difficult travel with this weather as atmospheric river number 2 makes its way into the Pacific Northwest. But boy, was it warm once again today. We set a record high, 53 unofficially. Our old record, 50, and that was set back in 2002. Look at our normal high for this time of year, 33. We were 20 degrees above where we should be. 37 this morning, a very nice warm start. 24 is our normal low, and our record cold, 3 below zero, set in 1964. We picked up 8/100ths of an inch of rain today, and that now gets us to 6.03 inches for the year, which is just a little over an inch below where we should be for this time of year. Sunrise 7:42 and the sunset at 4:11. All right, getting you into those Tuesday temperatures, we will be about like today, maybe just slightly cooler, lower 50s, Moses Lake and Ephrata. Quincy, you will see 51 tomorrow, 49 in Wenatchee, 47 in Chelan. One of the cool spots, Omak at 45 tomorrow, and Cashmere, it'd be nice and mild with a high temperature of 49. Taking a look at tonight now, we will see a bit of a ridge of high pressure over us as one storm system leaves and another one set to move in. That'll mean mostly cloudy skies, breezy conditions, and maybe some mountain snow showers overnight tonight with lows in the upper 30s. For your Tuesday, there's that next system, and boy, is it bringing a lot of wind with it. Not so much during the day. That's when we will see the precipitation. Could be even be heavy where we saw the last heavy rainfall, and then windy late in the day and tomorrow night, highs in the upper 40s. For Wednesday, look at that wind statewide, and we are talking very strong winds, a 90% chance of rain snow mix. High temperatures Wednesday staying once again in those upper 40s. And then as we move in through the week into Thursday, a double shot of low pressure will slide across British Columbia. It'll also have a cold front attached to it, and look at that widespread moisture on Thursday. 90% chance for a rain snow mix. Cooler, high temperatures in the low 40s on Thursday. For Friday, we'll get a bit of a break from all of that. Mostly cloudy, just a 30% chance of rain and snow for Friday. Our cool down will continue with highs Friday in the low 40s. And then as we get into the upcoming weekend, mostly cloudy on Saturday, a pretty quiet day. Still about a 40% chance that we could see a rain snow mix here in the Wenatchee Valley. Our cool down continues with high temperatures Saturday only at about 40 degrees. And then by Sunday, look at our next storm system that will affect our weather on Sunday. Rain and snow is likely throughout the state once again, especially in the Cascades nearest in the Wenatchee Valley. And we will continue that cool down too with highs Sunday only in the upper 30s. All right, time for your 7-day forecast now, and it's brought to you by Colonial Vista Senior Living in Wenatchee, where comfort, care, and community come together. 38 degrees overnight tonight, and then a very rainy period from Tuesday into Wednesday, also Thursday. And notice the cool down as we make our way through the week. Only 41 Thursday, 41 on Friday as we kick off our weekend. Then scattered showers for Saturday and 40. Cloudy with a big storm moving in on Sunday. High temperature then 39 degrees. And that's a look at your North Central Washington weather forecast. Coming up next, tonight's sports report with Eric Granstrom and more as the NCWLIFE Evening News continues right after this.
And a happy Monday to you. For the first time in franchise history, the Seahawks won a game without scoring a touchdown. Jason Myers hit a record 6 field goals to lift Seattle over Indianapolis 18-16 at Lumen Field yesterday. Last field goal, which proved to be the game winner, came from 56 yards out with 18 seconds remaining. Coach Mike McDonald said, well, they're not all pretty, but a win is a win.
It was a great football game. You got to give the Colts a lot of credit. They had a great game plan. Executed it well, and I'll tell you what, our guys just, we just fight tooth and nail to the absolute end, and, the wins in this league are come in all different shapes and sizes, and great teams figure out a way to win games, and that's what we're trying to be, so I'm proud of our effort, man. We are mentally tough. We stuck together. There's plenty, obviously, we want to work on and improve. But the way we closed that game out was just phenomenal. Just in terms of the fight, J-My 6 field goals, having each other's backs. Great kickoff return there at the end. Kobe with the pick. I mean, just a great effort. Great effort. There's things that we're going to really learn from out of this game. Red zone, time of possession, field position, defensively, being able to adjust as the game goes on, which I thought we did a great job of. But that's going to happen. So. Games are going to be like this coming down the stretch, and so it's you got to learn, figure out ways to win them, and so I'm proud that we did.
The hero of the day was Myers, who connected on field goals of 47, 52, 46, 32, 30, and 56 yards.
I think I said after the game with Jen, the locker room we have, it's so fun on Sundays with these guys. Everybody's so close in this locker room, so just like fighting to the end. The NFL is hard, right? So it's not every game is gonna be like a blowout or anything like that. They're gonna be tight. So yeah, just fighting with these guys is awesome. Once we get the ball back for if it's end of half, end of game, me, Stoli, and Dicko just getting our routine on the sideline and just ready for opportunity.
Sam Darnold's numbers actually weren't too bad. 22 of 36, 271 yards, and no interceptions. Phillip Rivers, by the way, the grandpa, was 18 of 27 for 120 yards. He did have a touchdown and an interception. Seattle kept pace with the LA Rams with the win. After the Rams beat Detroit 41-34, the Niners are a game back after a 37-24 win over Tennessee. Arizona dropped to 3-11 with a 40-20 loss at Houston. Well, the Washington Huskies finished the season on a winning note Saturday in the bucked-up LA Bowl. Damon Williams Jr. threw for 4 touchdown passes. Washington beat Boise State 38-10. Question now will be for Husky fans and whether Coach Jed Fish will stay in Seattle or jettison for another job, say, Michigan. Seattle Kraken looked listless in yet another loss in NHL play on Sunday. Buffalo scored first as the Kraken managed just 3 shots in the first period. Went on for the 3-1 win at Climate Pledge Arena. Chandler Stevenson, the only one to find the back of the net. Joey DeCourt stopped 20 of 22. Seattle's back at home against Colorado. That'll be tomorrow night at 7 o'clock on TNT. Well, recapping the weekend in college basketball, the Eastern men narrowly fell to California Baptist Friday, 88-83. Washington hammered Southern Utah Saturday, 105-69. 8th-ranked Gonzaga beat number 25 UCLA at Climate Pledge Arena, 82-72. Washington State fell on the road to USC Sunday, 68-61. Washington State women remain winless at home Friday, falling to Texas Tech, 82-51. 20th rated Washington had its hands full with Green Bay. In Seattle, that was on Saturday. They came out on top, 79-74. The Wenatchee Wild had a 1-2 weekend in Western Hockey League play after a hard-fought win over Tri-City Friday 3-2. Wild went on the road to Kennewick Saturday, fell 4-1. Then they dropped another 4-1 decision Sunday to Everett. At least the fans got to toss their teddy bears onto the ice in the third period Sunday.
Looking for some help from Miles. Nice reversal down the wall. Getting to it, chipped out front. They put it home and score! Throw him if you got him! It's teddy bear time in the TTC. Here they come from all corners of the Wolves' Den. It's 2-1 Wenatchee.
Wenatchee's back on the road tomorrow night in Seattle. We'll get a recap on the weekend, preview of the games coming up with Austin Andrade tomorrow morning on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Well, Prosser's girls basketball team certainly proving to be a scoring machine, at least during the early going this season. The Mustangs beat Quincy Friday 99-14. They'd follow that up with 95 points on Saturday in a win over Ephrata. Other action Friday, West Valley stopped Eastmont 42-27. Moses Lake edged Wenatchee 46-43. West Valley of Spokane down to Ephrata by 13. Cashmere earned a 39-31 win over Connell. Brewster beat up Chelan 50-18. Omak got by Jenkins Chewelah. Etiat thumped Thorpe, and Waterville Mansfield narrowly beat Pateras 50-47. Wenatchee dropped an 11-point decision at home against Sunnyside Saturday. Other girls scores: Eisenhower edged Moses Lake. Grandview Gallup passed Quincy. There's that Prosser score, 95-31. There's that quick seedable math here, 193 points in 2 games, or 94 points. Yes, that's a lot of scoring. Cashmere clobbered College Place. Omak mauled Manson. Davenport dumped Tonasket. Cle Elum clocked Okanagan. Wilson Creek beat Bridgeport 27-21. The boys' side of the ledger saw West Valley cruise over Eastmont Friday, while Moses Lake pounded Wenatchee. Prosser clipped Quincy by 1. West Valley of Spokane topped Ephrata. Connell quieted Cashmere. Chelan beat Brewster 76-45. It was Omak by 10 over Jenkins Chewelah. Soap Lake stopped Oroville. Waterville Mansfield earned its first win, downing Pateras. Etiat topped Thorpe 69-46. Sunnyside slipped by Wenatchee Saturday 70-69. Moses Lake won a high-scoring affair over Eisenhower 94-83. Grandview quieted Quincy. Prosser popped Ephrata. Cashmere down College Place 44-39. Omak up by Manson. Chelan down Colville. Davenport topped Tonasket. Okanagan beat Cle Elum. Bridgeport whipped up on Wilson Creek. Garden City Academy has set a new win record for their season, 56-32 triumph over Thorpe. Oroville beat Waterville Mansfield 56-33. Hey, big games coming up on Friday at Cashmere High School for an SCAC matchup between the Bulldogs and Natchez Valley. Join yours truly and Grant Olson with a call with a girls game at 5:45. The boys follow at 7:15. Also, Haley Van Lith will have her jersey retired during halftime of the boys game. We'll have all that live right here on the NCWLIFE channel. We're also trying to effort to get Haley to join us on the broadcast as well. That's a look at sports news. I'm Bert Granstrom. Have a happy Monday.
And that will do it for this Monday edition of the NCWLIFE Evening News. Remember, if you see news happening, let us know. Email your news tips to news@ncwlife.com or just give us a call at 888-6295. Our channel is also available on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV. I'm Grant Olson. Thanks so much for being with us and have a great night.